Hi, my name is Brian English, forum name Hyperbytes, and in this part 8 of our introduction to Wappler Extensions, we're going to be looking at using checkboxes, and we're also going to be looking at how we can use them to hide or show different inputs within our module. So if I go back to our HSON as we left it, first thing I'm going to do is something very simple. I'm going to copy both those inputs and duplicate them. Why am I duplicating them? Because it's easier than retyping them all. And this we've got a Boolean one here first. We've got to duplicate the output. I'm just going to change that name to TPO. The reason is this module is going to perform a very simple function that you will give it a number and it will square that number. But if you could optionally click on the checkbox, type in a power, let's say 3, and then the module will cube that number. So what we're doing is we're just adding 2 additional outputs. We're adding them to the Boolean to enable another data field, and then that data field is going to take the input. So we'll call that exponent, which is, I think, its technical term for the number that it goes to the power of. Input exponent. Right, we've done that. That was fairly simple. So now we have an extra checkbox called TPO, and we have an extra input called exponent. Also, just going to quickly change our schema. We're just going to call that result, and we're going to return a type of number. So I'm going to save that. I suppose we should have a look and see what that HSON actually generates. So I'm just going to restart Wappler. And let's see what that module brings us. So we see now that we have just going to take that out, put that back in again, because that's actually picking up an old copy. Right, so our module now has our data input, and it asks for an exponent. So this doesn't seem to actually be doing anything at all, does it? And the reason why it's not doing anything at all is because we haven't actually told it what it needs to do. So I'm going back into my HSON. I'm going down to TPO. And I'm just going to add a little bit extra in here, comma, and we're going to add in a show clause. Not a Santa Claus, a show clause. And we're going to specify that's going to show the exponent field. We can also have a hide. In this case, there's nothing that we're going to hide, so we can just, leave that as null. We'll save that again. Yes, I'm going to restart Wappler again. Now if I go into my extension, we'll see that that second output has disappeared. So let's say we want to do 4, but then to the power of 3, you'll see that will hide and show that particular input. So that's what we wanted to do. We now need to just amend our JS for this. let's start with, I change that schema. We're now calling the result. So if I go into the schema, sorry, into the JS, we can now just change that to say result, because obviously it needs to match the schema. And we're going to be looking at now a little bit of a calculation. We're sending it a number, possibly. It could be an item from a query, so it'll come over as a text value, perhaps. But we can deal with that, that's not a problem. But we're now going to have a second input that's going to be coming in as well, and that is the input called exponent. So let's const exponent equals this dot parse optional. I accept that these things are very contrived in terms of what we're doing, but obviously they're contrived in a way to illustrate a technique rather than towards a result. So it's option exponent. We're going to accept any data type. And if we haven't specified that, I'm going to say use a default of 2. In other words, we want that squared. And then our result then will be, just a bit of math, because we're calling it a math library, power data, comma, exponent. And that should output our calculation based on it being a default of 2, otherwise whatever we've sent to it. And if I've got my head around that properly, that should be all we need. So let's give it a try. Let's first of all just say for output. We're going to save that. This should be squared, but look, we'll get 16. No, we'll not. Option is not defined. Where have I gone wrong on that one? Because it should be options. My apologies. Let's try that again. There we are. So we've got 4 squared, and we've got a totally wrong result there. Why is that? 4 to the power of 2 should be 16. Our options exponent is going to be a 2, and our data is a 4. Let's start introducing a little bit of how to debug these things then. Console.log. What we're going to log, first of all, I want to know the value of the data. And I also would like to look at the value of exponent. I'm going to save that. I'm going to now open up our web server console. I'll clear that. I'm going to run that module now. And let's just see what's in that console. So we see that we've got my data is 4, but exponent for some reason is coming through as 3. I see our problem. I don't know whether anybody noticed there. Made a mistake in the HSON. We've still got exponent as required. Of course, that needs to be optional. So I'm afraid that's going to be another Wappler restart. Now if we run that in our browser, we get the correct result. If we go back into it now and power off, what's 4 to the power of 5? There we are, 1024 as we'd expect. So in this module we've looked at how to add those additional inputs. We've looked at a very important thing of making optional inputs not required, and we've also looked at how to hide and show options within our interface. I think we'll call it a day on that one. I'll decide where we're going in the next one. You've had to come back and find out. So thanks for joining me, and see you next time.